Powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to Do Good Work Podcast, hosted by Terrell Strayhorn and Jaquin Johnson. We specialize in taking a deep dive into issues that truly matter. Each episode unpacks the challenges and opportunities facing today's leaders, from classrooms to boardrooms, offering insights that inspire real change. By redefining success, we're changing lives, empowering people everywhere to create environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging, whether at home, work, or school. So hey, sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we explore the issues shaping our futures, one meaningful conversation at a time. Let's go!
Well, hello there to every single person out there in podcast land. It's Terrell Strayhorn here for the Do Good Work episode, another episode that's going to focus on workplace belonging. I'm here with my boy, Jaquin Johnson.
Yeah, so Jaquin, I'm happy to be here with you all. I'm currently watching the Heisman ceremony. Hopefully, Travis Hunter wins. Fingers crossed. Shout out Buffs. But listen, I'm interested in happy to think about and talk about with you the topic we're going to cover is workplace belonging.
So you know how we start every single episode asking you to like and share. Like and share if you have not already done so out there. Be sure to like and share. We appreciate you for joining us and being part of the show. It is certainly going to be a good conversation for everyone who is thinking about work. You got a job, you want a job, you want to really, really, really like and share, put a comment in the chat across any of the platforms. So let's get into it. Before we do that, you know, we start our shows each week with sharing a little bit about our week, as well as a word that starts with the first letter of our last name that captures our week. So what's your word for this week?
Essential. So, you know, I had to think hard about this before the episode. I have to go with jaunty, and it's, you know, defined as having or expressing a lively, cheerful, or self-confident manner. Listen, I am just happy to be here to talk about this topic that is so important. I think that we'll get into some dialogue and conversation about what it means, what it looks like, how people, you know, what's the difference between generations, and how employees and employers can work hand in hand to make sure that workplace belonging is achieved. So overall, this week has been absolutely amazing, the work that we've done together and separate. And I think, you know, we are with this group, this community on the podcast that is going to, you know, we always look forward to the podcast because it's essentially a place where we want to be because it's a time where we can talk about important issues and community.
Yeah, I think about the word. So S, I always have to go to my notes. When I was thinking about particularly this episode, I'll say structured. I mean, it's been a very productive week, but I know some folks who have checked in on me. It's been a week I've been laying low, partly because you do have to be pretty structured in order to get things done. You have to have a timeline. You have to have a schedule. You've got to follow that schedule. There are some things you can push to the side. You can reschedule. You can, even delay or delete, but some things have to be done. So having a structure and a form has always been a real, strength and a support of mine. And so I'm happy that I have that. And I feel particularly structured this week. So as we think about this podcast, we are also thinking about this week we have done mostly writing.
A lot of writing. And we also, listen, we have 2 book chapters, I think, coming out. One is about mental health. And the second one is about involvement, both around African-American men with disabilities. And listen, people, we have pushed each other to talk about these issues that really matter and problematizing what it means to be disabled and intersecting the social identities around being Black, male, and disability. You know, there's so much traditional work out there. We have problematized able-bodied, what else? Come on, help me, friend. Self-advocacy and help-seeking, right?
Able-bodied, differently abled. We have called out, I mean, those are the main ones.
There's one more. I can't call it right now. But again, this is something that I hope you all read, because this is something that is literally going to change your mind. That's going to drive you to the next day and figure out a way to help these students, support these students in order for them to thrive and succeed, not only academically, but socially as well.
Absolutely. So, you know, we've been writing papers and book chapters, but let's talk about it. I mean, one of the book chapters was not the easiest for us to pull together, because it was one where I don't remember. I think we started on it. Oh, no, it was. We started on it in January. So for anybody who thinks that you write something tonight is published tomorrow, this is to just push back against that. We started a chapter. We will leave the innocent out of this. But for some good authors who are out there, editors who are out there, thank you for your patience. We started a chapter in January of 2024. Y'all know it's about to be January 2025, and we're still working on the chapter. We got it back. And I don't know how many times you've looked at the chapter, maybe 3, 4, 5, 10. Well, on the 10th time, we noticed that this book chapter was supposed to be centering disabilities and maybe even mental health issues. But for some reason, it really centered COVID. So to the anonymous reviewer out there who said, I'm not sure why y'all are talking about COVID, we don't either. And so although we put all of this work, we're not talking about a 2-page paper. We're talking, we have the 30-page chapter done. We realized the need to start all over. So this one hits pretty far home to me, because I think sometimes we work with students. It's not just a student thing. It's for scholars. It's for postdoctoral scholars. It's for late career, early career, mid-career. There just happen to be times where, listen, you just have to start over.
Now, listen, that's a whole different meaning of starting over. We scrapped the chapter.
We
literally, we took the framework from the chapter. That was it, right? And maybe the methodology, but everything else was from scratch. The introduction, the findings, the discussion, the implications, the conclusion, and can we be honest with the
I hope so.
with the group, is that there was a time where we contemplated. You know, there's a lot of work that's coming our way. We have work that's on our plate. Can we do it?
Right. Should we do it? Given all the other things we have to do.
And we, you know, talk with the editors, and overall, they would just share with us like, no, we need your book chapter.
Yeah.
And we came together and understood the assignment, because again, there's another publication that's coming out, hopefully recently, that we made it's a contract with them saying that no matter what happens, we will make sure we deliver. We will make sure we talk about your experiences and your perspectives, because they matter. Yeah. This is a group that is under researched, and especially Black men with disabilities. I mean, literally, we have had these conversations over and over again about like there's not much out there. We talk about this on Tuesday, Wednesday, can't call it, but I think that, you know, overall, once we got through the chapter, we're very, 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 very pleased with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, that's not the purpose of the episode tonight, but if somebody needs to hear it, and listen, it doesn't just apply to writing. Sometimes you just got to start over. It's never too late to start over. Actually, I mean, it does mean we have a 30-page paper about COVID. So listen, anybody in the listening audience, all y'all people, like and share, please. You know, if you're doing any special issues on COVID, hit us up, DM us, write us, because we got a whole chapter we got to find a home for. But sometimes you just got to not be afraid to start again. Start fresh. It's never too late for a new beginning. The day might have been going in the wrong direction. It is okay. It's never too late to turn it around. And it's your podcast host tonight who came here to tell you through an example of our chapter, rather than throw in the towel, we rolled up our sleeves. And I got to tell you, I think it's probably one of the best. It's arguably one of our best chapters we've written together.
No, I think that is absolutely one of the best.
Well, until
hopefully we got something else.
So here we are, workplace belonging. So let's get into it. To everybody who's in the listening audience, please, thank you. We like the numbers rising. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Tag somebody. Drop it in the family group chat. Drop it in your, I don't know, Bible study chat. Tell somebody. We don't talk crazy up here, so you can drop it in the Bible study chat. But, you know, let them know we're on and we want to see them. And we will, you know, have a good time regardless. We appreciate it. But here's the thing. We are going to talk tonight about a topic that every single person can participate in. Whether you are 15 years old or 55 years old, whether you're working full-time, you're working part-time, you work for yourself, or you work for, as my grandma used to say, the man. I don't even know who the man is, but, you know, or the woman. We're going to talk about it, workplace belonging. And this is a really critical issue for a lot of different reasons. First of all, let's just talk about work. Work is so important. We're not here to make you feel bad. Listen, if you are looking for a job, if you're searching for a job, if you're, as my aunt says, between blessings, we got you. You know, it's going to work out. But work in this, capitalist society is so important because it is, you know, I was thinking about it one time when writing. Work is kind of cool. I know everybody's had a job and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. Jaquin's going to make sure we talk about it. Everybody don't like their jobs. And I've had jobs I have not liked. But here's the thing about having a job of any sort, even if you work for yourself, even if you create your job tonight, when you wake up tomorrow, you don't have to wonder, what am I doing today? Some people get lost. I mean, we do a lot of work in psychology. Some people get depressed, experience anxiety, and spiral into deep depression that can lead to suicidal ideation because they're idle. They don't have anything to do. So when we have a job, whether it is for someone else or for ourselves, or listen, you wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I got to clean the refrigerator. I got to wash some clothes. I got to take the trash out. And I got to, what do you do to dogs and cats? Groom the dog and the cat. Those four things are important to you. We just talked about it in our positive psychology class. Why? Because it gives your day, gives your life structure, purpose, meaning. You know, to anybody who's listening, who's, you know, struggling, especially in this holiday season, you know, don't allow the frustrations and the darkness of the world to keep you spiraling. Get out some paper right now while we're having this episode and start writing down some of the things you know you can do. Listen, we focus a lot on what we cannot do. Come on, disabilities chapter. And we don't focus enough on what we can do.
That's very true. I think that, you know, there's a lot of times in the workplace where we focus on, you know, different aspects of the work, whether we are doing meaningful work or work that is not meeting the mark. I think we also focus on things that we enjoy, that we don't enjoy, but times have changed over the course of generations where they focus on stability and they focus on security. Now we're looking at, you know, career fulfillment and positive environments and good work-life balance. But I think at the end of the day, we can co-create this space where rather if the job wasn't our first choice, I think that belonging can still be promoted and fostered. I think that regardless of who we are, what we do. Oh, we're going to get to that too. About the different topics of, you know, there are people who are janitors out there. That's not a glamorous role. There are people who are lawyers out there that is seen as someone who is competent, skilled, intelligent.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, all jobs are important. And we go to work every single day and we commit so much time at these jobs. And it's very important for us to focus on and understand and appreciate that fostering workplace belonging is something that we need to do better in.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people out there who go to these jobs
Mm-hmm.
where they don't have the support that is needed. There are others who go to these jobs who have the support, whether it's the I was calling names, whether it's the person who is in the cafeteria, or the janitor,
Yeah.
or the lawyer, or
Yeah.
the doctor, or the physician. All of these jobs matter.
And I think we see that a lot more, especially since the pandemic. Quite honestly, I'm not sure we did a good job as a society honoring the people who were on the front lines prior to the pandemic. It's like you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Every single kid, for the most part, says, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be, what else? A pro football player, I want to be actor. But there are these glamorous jobs. Rarely do small kids say, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a maintenance worker, I want to be I want to clean shoes, I want to own a corner store, so that you can go and get your milk and your candy. Or, oh my goodness, this is one that most people never ever talk about. I want to be a mailman, so people get their mail. I want to be people don't say it. But then when the pandemic happened, I think we realized, oh my gosh, first of all the parents out there, y'all ought to drop something in the chat. You ought to like, retweet, tag a whole bunch of your friends, because we learned in the pandemic, please, teachers, don't leave us. Because when you had your student or students at home all day long in the house in the pajamas, it was a lot of work. So what we learned is that we come to really appreciate those who are on the front line, those who are out there meeting our needs. Okay, so work matters. It's not just because it gives you a paycheck, although that's important. People should be paid for the work they do. 2, it is also important because it's identity politics. It's how you sort of make your way through the world and you earn credibility and respect. And that's why people want to be in these upper echelon kinds of jobs. It is also, and I'm seeing this, I know my mom, hello, Mom. I know you're out there listening. So listen. But my mom has helped me really think about this, because my mom is a nurse, and my mom is a nurse. She's not just working a job as a nurse. At her core, she is a nurse. So part of working is identity building. We were on the show the other day with Dr. Johnson, your mom, and she's a teacher. And, it's not just that she goes to work to teach. At her core, she's a teacher.
People really take pride in their work.
Yeah.
Like, whether you like it or not, you take pride in the work. You go out of your way to make sure you do good work. Okay, podcast and good work. You go out of your way to do good work. Whether if people like you or they don't like you, it does not matter, because at the end of the day, people have goals. Some goals are, they want to buy a house, they want to buy a car, they want to make sure that their grandchildren or children have a good Christmas. Okay, they want to make sure that people are someone who they can depend on them. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I'm going to do such good work that I'm going to be rewarded. But some of us are not rewarded for our good work. And that's what we got to really talk about. That's something that is
No, not something we got to talk about. Let's talk about it now. Employers, come on, y'all. Now, this one hits hard home for us, right? Because we got a team. If people do good work, you got to reward them.
You have to reward them, because again, at the end of the day, we've seen this on our team. Fortunately, absolutely, this is the reason why we're talking about this today. And we've seen it across the globe in places that we've been in places that we kind of lectured at, is that people come to us and say that, man, I work so hard every single day. I show up on time. I do good work. I do my job. I do what they ask me to do. There are moments where I work long hours. There's so much on my plate where, I have dinner with my family and I come back to my work. But at the end of the day, I don't even know if they even notice.
Right.
And that is hurtful. I don't even know if the work that I'm doing is important, and that is hurtful. I don't even know if the work that I'm doing is value, and that is hurtful.
Yeah.
But there is always that those people who share with us that also talk about and mention, it's always that one person on my team who shares with me that I see you, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the projects that we do would not get across the finish line if it wasn't for you.
Literally.
And that's called ego extension.
Mm-hmm.
And ego extension is so important because there are days and times and weeks and months where we do so much work and it's not rewarded. We can go to our families and our our extended communities that will share with us, you guys you are doing such important work. I admire you. And that is, helpful. It motivates us. It inspires us to go back to work the next day. But there is also a hole that is not fulfilled because I want to hear that from my boss and my employees, but I'm not getting that. And when I'm not getting that, I think, we have hope, but hope eventually dies at some point.
Right. I mean, and this is what we were saying earlier. This is why, Reverend Jesse Jackson became famous talking about keep hope alive. Hope will die. So listen, people get up in the morning. We said this millions of times in different settings. People get up every day. They put on clothes. Some of them brush their teeth. Not all of them brush their teeth. That's okay. No safe space, no judgment zone. But the reason why we say that is because the most recent national poll says that more people have a cell phone than have a toothbrush. I don't know how that happened, but we got our priorities out of place, people. But listen, people get up, they get dressed, they get in their car or on their bike or take their pit and pat their 2 feet and they get to work. They go because for whatever reason, they want to be part of what you're doing as an employer. They want to. Oh, we can't say that. I don't know. I was about to say Amazon. We like you, Amazon. I love Amazon because listen, if it wasn't for Amazon, I would have nothing.
On time. Y'all doing a really good job. Okay?
People get up and they go to work.
Some of us shop through Amazon. Not all of us. I'm one of them. I'm not buying anything through Amazon.
Is that true?
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I don't even like ordering things on Amazon.
Is that true?
Frank, come on now.
I didn't know that. I mean, I've shopped listen, I have not been to a mall in a long time. If I go, I might just go walk or see the mall. But yeah, Amazon is my friend. And people get up and they go to their jobs if they shop for Amazon. Because listen, Amazon, they believe in your mission. They believe in the idea of like people getting their packages. I mean, listen, I got to shout her out because she's one of my favorite Amazon deliverers. My sister, Kim, I'm on the phone usually with her when she's working and she'll talk about throwing packages to people. She's greeting them. Hello, how are you? She's touching everybody's dog and cat. Kim, stop touching them animals. But she's greeting the animals. Listen, she also does this. She will say, I put their package by the tree because that's what they asked me to do. I got to go around back to the back porch because that's where they asked me to go. That is a person who believes in the mission, the scope, the KPIs of Amazon, and they do it. So people go out of their way because they believe in what you're doing as an employer, whether you're Amazon, whether you're Do Good Work, whether you're a school district, whether you're a court, whether you are a university, a college, a corner store, or a grocery store.
Whether you're in the office, the factory, the warehouse, it does not matter. There are people who go out of their way to make sure they meet the mission.
And you've got to show them that you see them, that you hear them, that you care about them. Now, we're going to give you some ideas about how this works, but if it's not too late, you could, if you are an employer right now, you've got a group chat for all of your team, you can drop in the group chat right now, just thinking about you. Hope you're okay. Thanks for all you do. That's it. Send it. We were in Pennsylvania and we were doing an activity and asked her, when was the last time you felt the most seen at work? When was the last time you felt the most cared about? She said it was when her employer put a post on LinkedIn and tagged her in it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's
simple.
One way, right? That's social media, but I think that there's another way to do it too.
Come on.
And something that I've heard and I also done myself is like, as employers, get to work early, get a Post-it note. Right. Be specific about what your employee did and put it on their desk. So when they walk into work and read it, that's how they start their day.
Yep.
I've had so many people who told us through our work, it was like, when's the last time you felt seen, heard, important, cared about? It's like they told us, I walked into work and when I got to work, it said, "Thank you for all that you did for X project." And let me tell you something. When I walked into work that day, I did not want to be there.
Period.
I didn't want to go.
Uh-oh.
I didn't want to, actually, I didn't get there on time. But when I saw that note, I understood the assignment. And because I understood the assignment, it made me realize what's our mission? What's our KPIs? Now I'm motivated. I'm engaged. All the other words you want to use. To do the work, committed, to make sure that we ultimately meet our goals. We ultimately achieve what we set out to achieve. And as leaders, we make belonging so complicated. And we are here to tell you, it
forgot about me.
I corrected myself. It's not complicated. I think there are moments where we, as researchers, as practitioners, as scholars, as people, we want it to be complicated because it's theory, but it's not. And I think that at times where we have people who, I'm gonna call it out, my mom, who reads the work and says like, I'm already doing that. But that's not bad, right? It's telling you that what you're doing is backed by evidence. So continue to do it. And for the ones who are not, it's giving you language and an opportunity to sit with and reflect on what you're doing, what you're not doing, and then take what we're saying or what people are saying about belonging, sense of belonging or workplace belonging, and apply it to your work. Yeah. Because once you do that, it is so powerful. We always say that belonging is not magic, but when it's done correctly, it leads to magic. And you can only experience magic when you sit down and think about the ways that you can use what we talk about to apply it to your practice.
Yeah, every single day. You have to appreciate the fact that it's exactly what you're saying, friend. Like, belonging's not magic. People want it to be. They want it to be like, oh, take 2 drops of belonging, put it in a cup, mix it, and everything works magically. No, but you just heard it. And listen, y'all, I'm excited because the prep for this show paid off, because there are things being dropped in this episode that we were trying to figure out exactly how it would land, but it's so true. Listen, belonging is transformative. Y'all know this. Everybody knows this, that sometimes you go to a place and you're not crazy about the restaurant. You're not really interested in the college or university. It is not the job. It's not your dream job. But you know what? You get there, you start doing some work, your supervisor starts celebrating what you do and acknowledging you, and you start developing some friendships and going on lunch breaks and maybe even lunch walks. And before you know it, you're like, I kind of like this place where I work. I do feel like I'm playing. Here's another thing that might happen. Supervisors, write this down. Your supervisor comes to you one day and says, you know what? We have a big project. It's really important, and I want you to lead it. Boom, a boost. I wish I had a boom on this thing. That's a boost. Boom. It's a boost to your ego. You know what I'm saying? It's a boost to your belonging, because now you are overseeing and leading important projects, and a job that seemed ordinary and maybe not that exciting all of a sudden transforms into something that you want to talk about. The reason why we're talking about this is because, listen, people work is important too. It's so important that people go out of their way. We all know we've been trained to do more with less, to go above and beyond the call of duty, to try to outpace, to outsmart, to outshine, to outperform everybody else, even those who are not our competition. I mean, we've seen that sometimes in our own work where people are like, we're doing work on that. And we're like, and that's great. We're about to like and share it. And they're like, wait, you're okay with us doing work on that topic? Yeah, because it's a big topic. Lots of people can do it. Everybody can eat. And so I think we have to appreciate the fact that sometimes we do all of this to compete with each other. Unfortunately, we should talk about this. Going above and beyond, doing more of less, outpacing, outsmarting, outshouting, outrunning, outperforming, out everything can take a toll. It exhausts our bandwidth. It can zap your energy. It can deplete your passion. And of course, the research is clear. That leads to burnout, turnover, and here's the worst one, silent quitting, where you don't leave, you just leave. You don't leave the job, you just leave at your desk. You don't really resign or quit, you just quit in your mind. But there are also positive consequences of this. Of course, you get rewarded. Sometimes you get promoted. Sometimes you get more opportunities and more work. But the secret of the thing is workplaces have changed. Generations have changed. People aren't staying in these jobs anymore the same way, without support, without autonomy, without some clarity about my role and what's expected of me, and without rewards. So what we are really calling attention to, especially for those of you who are employers, business owners, supervisors, managers, is that it takes a different approach to really work with people today. That I don't know. She's no longer with me to be able to ask these questions. But if my maternal grandmother was alive, I probably would ask her. I'm thinking back in her day, people, I remember her talking to me sometimes about when you get a job, Rail, keep a job. When you get the job, baby, just do a good job for the person. And, and it was very transactional. As the employee, I do everything for the employer because the employer has given me the gift of a job. But I think nowadays people are expecting more. Well, the evidence is clear that nowadays are. You got a quote, friend? Something about this?
I do, but I also want to talk about. I'm gonna say what the quote is, and then let's park it. Right.
Okay.
So it's we were doing some reading for the prep of this show, and we posted it on Twitter, and essentially it kind of talked about the post-war. World War II generation wanted job security. No. It said security and then stability. Today's generation want career fulfillment, a positive environment, and a good work-life balance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a positive environment, right? So what does that mean, right? There are so many people out there, today's generation, as it said, that they want a place that is warm, welcoming, that allows them to show up as themselves, that they hire them to do a job, so don't micromanage them. And then when you get there are so many jobs during an interview that tell you we are family oriented, and then when you get there, first of all, okay, everyone doesn't want to go into a job that is family. It's like you're not my family. Right. I have a family. Right. I just want to do a job where I have the resources, I have the support, I have the autonomy to do the work that you hired me to do. I didn't ask for a family, but positive work environment. So there was a client that we talked to the other day, and one of them shared that when I came into this work, I didn't ask for a perfect world or perfect workplace environment. I really just what I want is a place where I can do my work freely with some guidance, right? With some KPIs and goals in there, with some constructive feedback, with some an opportunity to share my opinions and ideas and not be trumped because we just only focus on the agenda. And because of that, now y'all. I've been in this role for listen, for real. I've been in this role for 6 months. And I'm ready to go. It takes a toll on me because what you said in the interview is not what I'm experiencing. And because of my experience, I am sitting here asking myself, questioning, why am I here? But I already know, based on the pre-show, we don't want to go there, but I feel it today to talk about it.
And that is?
We heard it so many times. It's like people don't want a perfect job.
Yeah.
No one is looking for that. What we're looking for is a place where I feel supported. When I mean by support is I have the resources. I have the people, that is behind my back telling me to go for it. I have colleagues who celebrate me when I do a good job. I have colleagues who come to me and listen, we wrote it down, but I don't have it. Darn it. That said, like, you know, when I don't do a good job, we can be open and honest.
Yeah.
To talk about what I'm doing wrong or how I can course correct.
Yeah.
To me, that's a place where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Where you can be, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to make mistakes because the infrastructure, we've seen that word 50 times this week, infrastructure is set up to where I can recover. I can get better. Listen, there are several folks who probably worked with us or maybe even on our teams. Put it in the chat, call me out, blast me if I'm not telling the truth. I tell people on my teams all the time, listen, it is okay if you are not perfect. You are not perfect and I'm not perfect. So together we make sense. I don't need perfect people on my team. Every now and again, something's going to happen. Every now and again, a ball is going to be dropped. Every now and again, some form is going to be filled out the wrong way. That is cool diggity with me because it lowers the pressure on me. But if you're perfect, oh my gosh, look what pressure you just created for me. To the employers that are out there, when do we create the space and the time for people to talk about the fact that everything's not perfect? And that's okay because we are improving incremental progress.
And the thing is this, though, we're not robots.
Right.
Hello,
Exactly.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Well,
you ain't perfect too.
You're perfect too. But
little do you know.
Little do you know. But we're gonna continue to work with you because you help us. But the thing is, this is like positive work environments means it's different for people. There are things that, you know, in our mind about positive work experience doesn't, you know, what does that look like for Black women? What does that look like for Black men? What does that look like for Latinx people? What does that look like for white people, right? There are certain times where people in our workspace who have the privilege and power to maneuver in a way that they show up. Right. But for others, you cannot do that. So as employers and employees, we have to understand that based on who we are and how we show up. You know, we also talked about in our work disabilities, right? We talked about environments. Environments can be disabling. You don't have to have a disability to be in an environment that disables you. No. So when you're in a disabling environment, you're constricted, and you have these, you have this weight on you where you don't understand exactly what you need to be doing. I mean, that weight really allows you to, at the end of the day, we don't succumb to the pressure. No. But we ask ourselves, it's this little bird in our head is saying, like, no matter what you do, it's not going to work.
It's not going to be good enough.
No matter what you do, no one cares.
Do you think that's what people are talking about when they say imposter syndrome?
I think so. I think that there are people out there in this world. And listen, y'all have to use the chat tonight,
please,
because we need you to talk about these topics.
Ask a question, drop a chat. If those of you who work in HR, use the chat. All the chats are live. Try them out. We're looking across these platforms, but yeah, ask a question, raise a point, share your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is this true for you? There's just so much about workplace belonging that can be talked about.
I think also too, like about imposter syndrome, it is heightened when you're in a place where you don't feel supported.
That's true.
Where you don't feel valued, important, or respected. You don't, about respect is like what you said earlier, in terms of that someone came to you saying, like, we have this huge project, we're asking you to do it, asking you to lead it. And, that sounds really good, but if you don't have the support to do what you need to do, at the end of the day, you tell yourself, listen, I have the background knowledge, I have the skills, I have the talent, but I'm missing one thing. Mm-hmm. And that one thing is who has my back? Who's right on my team? Mm-hmm. And you may have all of those things that help you do the job that they ask you to do. But that's where belonging is so, like, again, transformative. Come on. Because without that, we ask ourselves, can I really do it? am I really capable? Am I worthy of this work? And once that seeps into our mind, that is the point where we become distracted, hurt, harm, pain. We at this point we cannot do the work. We can't do the work. Let me correct myself on this podcast. We can do the work,
Right.
but it may not be as productive. It may not be as efficient
Mm-hmm.
or effective
Mm-hmm.
because we're constantly, as we're working, we're asking ourselves, is this accurate? Will this meet the expectations? Will this meet the KPIs? Was achieve what has been asked of me? And if I cannot do that, then what do I do? At the end of the day, listen, what is the question we need to ask ourselves? The question we need to ask ourselves is internal. It's not. Come on! It's not external, people.
Right.
It's internal.
Right.
And although we can problematize that too, but that's not really the podcast. But we're
Friend.
talking about possible.
Friend.
What?
Friend, you talking about questions. Are you ready for this?
We got our first question.
Hey! Listen, I know y'all like, what is wrong with them? We be celebrating when y'all engage us. This is just exciting. Okay, so the question, I'm gonna let you try it. So because you're talking about it, right?
So, but what if you don't like your job? What if you don't like your job? Hold on. Keep going.
So what if you don't like your job? You know, we talked about this
I'll just remove the question.
during. I'm screaming.
I'm screaming.
Don't remove the question. It's a good question. What if you don't? Because listen,
We're not gonna say your name.
This is literally what we talked about before the podcast. Honestly, and I gotta be honest with the group, right? With the audience, we literally argued about this topic right here.
Oh Lord, you're telling too much.
Is that what if you don't like your job
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking you to work? Thank you for the person who asked that question.
I'm gonna find it on this,
Because
it's
you
on-
have
it's
helped
on
me
Facebook.
tremendously on this topic. And is that like the average person has about spends about 1/3 of their lives at work. That's equivalent to 90,000 hours.
Thank you, friend, for saying it. Yes. Keep going.
But what if you don't like your job? What if your boss, after 5 or 6 p.m., whatever time your day ends, they ask you to write a report. They ask you to respond to an email or follow up a phone call, or they have questions about the work that's been done, and they want to know more about it to get a sense of where we're going. And there is someone that we know, my friend knows, that said that after 5 o'clock, anything that's important to me is in this house.
That's what she said. Shout out to you.
So if you don't like your job, I don't know why. Oh, I don't know why I would. I don't know why I would. So let's talk about it. That is a good question. I hope you can find it to get the end of it. But if you don't like it, what does that mean for you?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a lot about before pre-show is, people have goals.
Yep.
And people can only meet those goals through the work because times have changed. People want to buy houses and cars and make sure that their family has a good Christmas. Ooh, get it together. But it's really hard when you're not motivated to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. Let's just unpack some of these stats. So the average person spends on average 8 hours a day at work. 5 days a week, that's about 40 hours a week. That's 40 hours times 4 weeks. That's 160 hours per month. If you multiply times the 12, months in a year, and then the average person spending anywhere from about 45 years working. Most people don't retire at 30 years anymore, although some people do. So you're talking about 90-some thousand hours in lifetime. However, most of us do not work just 8 hours a day. I mean, I don't know how many hours we work some days. It's like, because what counts as work? is the first part. The second part of it is that as you're doing all of this work and you're, sort of putting your time and energy, directing your time and energy to these work-related activities, you benefit. You benefit from a paycheck. You benefit from getting to know people. You benefit from doing important work, good work. You feel competent. You feel capable. But if you do not like your job, here's what I would say is if it's and Fred is right. We were sharing some different perspectives prior to the show about this, but if your workplace is toxic, if it is dreadful, if it is abusive, if it is unfulfilling, I think you do need to put some time on Indeed.com, Monster.com, do some job searching. Sometimes it's not realistic to be able to just leave overnight. Sometimes you do have to leave and just, as my grandma said, let the Lord have his way. But you may have to decide because here's the thing, there is a psychological consequence and a physical consequence. I'm trying to tell y'all, stress kills. It's not just in your mind. Physically, you live shorter. Your heart rate goes up. Your hands get clammy. Your mind gets, cloudy. And so there is a consequence to this. You want to protect yourself from those energies and from those effects. And the way you might have to do it is start looking for another opportunity. Here's the other thing you could do. If you are feeling this way, I know it could be risky. I know you probably don't want to hear it at this time of night, but listen, sometimes you're going to have to talk to your supervisor. You're going to have to talk to your team leader. You're going to have to talk to some of your coworkers and let them know, like, listen, y'all, we just did this with some clients this week. I am stressed. I'm worried about myself. I'm worried about us. I want to be here. I want all of us to be here, but we have not set up the kind of work environment that is going to retain us. It is not sustainable. And here are 3 things that really, really grind my gears, or here are 3 things that really deplete. Come on, climate survey for a client. That at the end of the day, all my energy is gone. And here's why: because of the tone of our meetings, the length of our meetings, the way you talk to me, the way you give me feedback. I don't know what it is, but sometimes by helping people know what the triggers and the problems are, people can course correct, they can improve, and workplaces can get better.
Yeah, listen, whoever asked that question, I don't know where we are, but if you removed it, that's okay. We also invite you to come on the podcast to share your story.
Ooh.
And this is a place where you will not be judged. You will not be harmed. You will not be mocked. You will not be hurt. I'm going to tell you right now, based on the 2 co-hosts, we'll make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, somebody?
Okay.
Has everyone got that? Because that's not the place for it.
Right.
This is not the place for it.
Right.
But I also think that you mentioned, saying that, let me finish my thought. If you want to come on the podcast and share your story, please do, because that's what we wanted tonight. Okay, second thing is you talked about informing the employer what's their triggers, why they're not enjoying their job. Mm-hmm. But I think that we have to make sure that we have the language to share that, because there are some employers out there who will look at that and say that you are you're causing trouble. You are trying to find a way out of work. You are you're just a person that is called, a person who is. I can't go there. I cannot go there.
Why?
I cannot go there.
You had to censor yourself?
I have to censor myself.
Okay.
But at the end of the day,
no paraphrase.
I can paraphrase. It's just like you're the problem, not
there
us.
You go. Yeah, that's fair. And
because it's you, not me, not us, then it's us against you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to meet, because the company is bigger than you, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think that as an employee, you have the right and privilege to share your experience, no matter where you work.
Yeah.
And it's important for you, in order for it to get across to the employer, is to just really be authentic and open and honest. I know that it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier said than done. It really is. I mean, honestly, I want to really go there, but I have to make sure that I don't say things on this podcast that gets me in trouble. But the thing is this, at the end of the day, you are a human and you have needs. And if your needs are not met, it's going to show up in the workplace. So as my friend Terrell said, maybe it's a time where you begin to explore other options and seek other places where you can do work that allows you to be yourself, that allows you to show up just as you are, that allows you to do the work that you were hired to do. But if you are in a season where you are applying but not getting those jobs, you know, we have to find a way to find the courage to talk to our employers about, listen, here is example A, example B, example C. that is causing me to show up in a way that it's not productive.
Yeah.
Because here are your goals. And I'm not saying that I can't meet those goals. But what I am saying is because the workplace and the work environment and the space that I'm in, it's not allowing me to do good work that you hired me to do.
Yeah.
So how help me help you.
Right. I mean, that's what you need. So these are conversations that we're encouraging, you know, employees to have with employers and vice versa. And I think, listen, we think we talked about this already in the podcast. I saw something, these little posts on social media get on my nerves that are like, you know, it's my way or the highway, or do what I ask. I said what I said. I mean, people, it's got a rhyme to it, but it's not realistic. Life is not usually that way. And so you do have to sort of listen. You do have to change. You do have to have empathy. You do have to talk. You do have to explain. You do have to give people opportunity and space and runway to improve. And so that's what we're really arguing for. Listen, we got at least two more things we need to try to tackle here, friends. So I'm going to try to see if we can move ourselves along, because we want to make sure we talking about this. By the way, if we end up doing it, be sure to stay tuned, because last week we had a midweek, I don't know if it's called an after show, but a midweek kind of check-in. So every now and again, these topics are so big, we want to talk about them even later. But one thing that you did talk about when we were trying to figure out our perspective on this matter, there are two things I'm hoping we can at least talk about. One is I do want to spend a moment talking about differences and perspectives on job security and financial stability, if you're willing to go there. And two, I think we got to close out with this talking honestly from the heart, helping people understand what does it mean to feel seen, feel heard, feel cared about at work, and to understand that workplace belonging is not Skittles and rainbows. It's not about everybody gets roses on their desk every single day.
I'm screaming.
Or that you have, a card from Hallmark. I don't even know if Hallmark is still open, but Hallmark every day from your employer. I mean, I think some of that stuff is just, it's nice to have when you do get it, but it is unreasonable to think that's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. So, one thing, so that if there's someplace you want to take us, we can go there too. One is job security and financial stability. All right. So job security, again, I'm going off of what I'm believing about previous generations. I have not had the conversation with every single person that generation to know. But I remember reading, there's good, solid research out there that says job security was once sort of measured as I'm in the same job for most of my career. I am secured in my job. Tenure for teachers, for professors, is a sort of outgrowth of that. But job security is starting to look different. And so for employers, for HR professionals, for employees, people who are workers, we got to be mindful of this, is that job security is starting to look a little different in that people don't expect to stay in the same job their entire life. In fact, the most recent data says that the average American has between 12 and 14 different jobs by the time they are 40. All right, write it down on paper. Start adding up your jobs. You know you had a newspaper route, and you worked at the mall, and you drove for Uber or Lyft, and then you started, you had some jobs in college, you had some jobs in high school. Count them up. The average American has 12 to 14 different jobs today
by the time they're even hit 40. Not that they are in the same job every single day. That's one piece. So job security can look different. The other thing is I feel secure, and I'm saying I'm not talking about me personally. I'm talking about generally people today, when they think about job security, it's like, I might leave this job I'm in right now because I already have another job lined up. Some people might look at that and say, that is really wild. That's not, you shouldn't do that. But they feel very secure because they already have the other job. And they get in that job. And like Jaquin said, maybe you stay in it 6 months and it doesn't turn out to be the job you want, but guess what? You just landed another job. So you're ready to move to that job. It may not look like security to some, but to especially today's generation, it can be a form of security. And it lines up with this phrase, secure the bag. Everybody's trying to secure the bag. Secure the bag does not mean stay in the same job for 50 years anymore. It might mean stay in 50 different jobs and make sure there's always a bag coming.
Man, that's a really good question. One I want to say is that, going back to the earlier topic about if you don't enjoy your job, and we said that, have a conversation with your employer. There are about 5 reasons why people don't have difficult conversations. Mm-hmm. One, I'm not going to go through them extensively or explain them because you brought up another conversation, but it's like, one is they have conflicting interest. 2, they have different personal work styles. 3, there is a lack of trust. 4, there are different views of the facts. And 5, there are always strong emotions. But what you're saying is, about job security. And I think that looks different for this generation. What were we? Gen Z? Gen X?
Gen Z, Gen Y. Right.
Is that, they look at job security different. At one point, job security was to stay in this job because they offered it to you. You have it. You're loyal to them. Now we're in a place where people aren't staying at jobs. Mm-hmm. They're not, because they're not putting up with it anymore. There are so many opportunities out there. There were, at one point, we didn't have, hybrid options. We didn't have flexible work options. We didn't have remote work. We didn't have, well, that may not be true. But again, there are multiple streams of income that people can do to generate income. And, what are we saying? Job security for the new generation looks different for the generation before us. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it has created this new wave that allows us to think about what is job security. At one point, we thought about it and viewed it as, we have a job, we are there for 30 plus years, or it's a job where, this is my only job that I've had, and that's where I retired. Because I'm thinking about it at, about what retirement and the money that I will accrue after I retire. Mm-hmm. The new generation is thinking about it as like, I'm retirement. I'm not retirement. I'm trying to secure the bag today. Right. And in order for me to be secure in my life, I must find multiple streams of income. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, I must think about the skills that I possess and then utilize them. Yep. Now, there are some employers out there who will say that you're distracted, you're not doing the work that we asked you to do, but we have to think about, the cost of living is different today. And in order to survive and thrive, you have to have those multiple streams of income. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but I think I'm talking to at least one person.
Come on, somebody put it in the chat. Let them know he's talking to you.
And then the next thing is, do we bring up stability?
Yeah, we haven't gone there. Let's go there.
We haven't talked about that. But I think let's focus on this. It's like job security. It's different today. Mm-hmm. And people are looking at it differently. And we have to appreciate why that is. There are multiple factors that shape our ideologies about job security. At one point, we could buy a house with one stream of income. Today, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think there's another thing that where, people have so many skills that they want. There's the one person that said that, what if I don't like my job? You may not like your job, but you enjoy certain things, and there are opportunities for you to do that.
Yeah.
There are people who are out here that are doing photography on the weekend, who are throughout the week. There are people who are out here who are writing for
That's such a good point.
dissertations.
We often talk about what we don't like about our jobs. Sometimes when you realize you're not in loving your job, that's a good time to think about the things you do like about it.
Ooh, that's brings up a good point. I work with someone who did not enjoy her job, and she liked the work that she was doing, but she didn't enjoy the space that she was in. And she shared with me, like, I enjoy writing about emissions, and I enjoy writing about how we can recruit new students in higher education. Although the role that I'm in now, I do enjoy it, but I do not like the space that I'm in. I think that is so toxic. And there's another company out there who allows me to write about the things that I enjoy. And because of that, that brings me happiness. That motivates me to wake up the next day and do this work. And that's another stream of income.
Yeah.
I think that we cannot limit ourselves as workers,
Right.
to only be involved in the people who have hired us, right? Because at some point it's going to just knock us down.
Mm-hmm. Well, knock us down, but also it will sort of zap us of the things we've been talking about. It's going to zap us of our energy. It's going to take away our focus. It's going to deplete our passion. The worst thing that happens in jobs that you don't like is you lose interest in the job. And it's something that could have been changed. I think if we just pause for a moment, have some conversations, even if they're difficult, and then take active steps to improve them. Listen, I want to make sure that we, first of all, talk about these feelings, because belonging is a feeling, and feelings have to be facilitated and nurtured. They can't be forced. And then we want to challenge you all with some closeout sort of call to actions. One is, what does it mean to feel seen? What does it truly mean to feel heard? What does it truly mean to feel cared about? So I'll get started, and we just sort of volley back and forth. This one's probably not exactly what people think I would come to. So first of all, when people hear that, like, oh my gosh, workplace belonging is feeling seen, I'm worried that people think that is Skittles and rainbows. It's nice and fluffy. It's warm and beautiful. And while that's okay to think, it doesn't really help hiring managers and team leaders and CEOs and boards think about, like, what can we do systematically, organizationally, and structurally to facilitate belonging for people. Here's one of the things that happened today that I think was pretty powerful as an illustration of feeling seen. So we were watching a basketball game, one of the things we do. And interestingly enough, Bruce Pearl, whose name I know because he is the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, but his name stands out to me because he used to be the head coach for University of Tennessee Vols, and I was a professor at Tennessee. That's where I started my career. And so seeing Bruce Pearl, I'm like, oh, Bruce Pearl. Like, I know him. I don't. Hi, Bruce. Shout out to you if you're listening. As we said, don't know why you would be. But, listen, if you decided, drop your name in the chat and tell us hello. But I was watching the show. Bruce is up there. He's the head coach. And while the game is going, ESPN had a little call-out box to the side because Bruce Pearl celebrated the birth of a grandchild today. And it had a picture of the grandbaby, their name, their birth date and time. And then they had all this stuff about Bruce's family going off in the left-hand side of the screen, my screen at least, our screen. And I thought to myself, wow, For anyone who just looks at the screen and only sees Bruce Pearl as a basketball coach, who looks at the screen and only sees him as a celebrity or as a personality, we just humanized him. We reveal, and listen, it's his grandbaby, and she was born today, or he was born today. And I thought, man, you have to feel so seen as a human when people do those kinds of things. So people will say, okay, so what are you telling me to do? Put shout outs about people's grandbabies on the screen? No, what I'm saying is think about what it took for them to execute that today, the day that the grandbaby's born, and it's on the screen. There's communication, there's marketing, there's clearances and authorizations. There's how they get the picture of the baby and the name and the spelling. I mean, there's a lot of coordination across the team. And I think that's what managers, leaders, HR, board members can do, is build the infrastructure, the policies, the flow of information, the flow of communication to where you can surprise your employees, not just about grandbabies, about awards that they win, about when they, take the project across the finish line, when they hit the 5-year mark of being with the company. There's so many things to celebrate.
Wow. Feeling seen. What you just illustrated and described is one form of feeling seen. But I think, this goes beyond just the leader. I think as in colleagues, we can help people feel seen. And that is just a simple good morning. How are you?
Yeah.
Hey, last week you told me that you were going to a concert. How did it go? Did you enjoy it? What did you like about it?
Mm-hmm.
Who did you go with? Wow. Is that your best friend? Stopping by the office to ask them, how are you doing? Do you need help? I noticed that you did X. Well done. I think that feeling seen is not just this thing that we can do on TV because of our position and where we work.
Right.
But I also think that feeling seen can be a place where we can have conversation about people beyond just surface level of hey, how are you? Mm-hmm. No, but asking those people, like, I see you. I see what you're doing, not just the work that you're doing here, but I see you as a person.
Right.
And once I see you as a person, when people feel that, like, you humanize me, is where we can move beyond just surface level, inauthentic, disingenuous interactions. And once we get there, people really do good work once that happens.
Yeah.
I even think we talk about, I think we said it multiple times, like there are bridgeable relationships and unbridgeable relationships. Mm-hmm. You have someone in your place of work that they don't like you. They think you do bad work. You think they do bad work. I didn't make people who I think do bad work. Okay. But at the end of the day, it goes beyond that. I still see you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I still care about you. I still hope you do well. And there's a line of questioning that allows us to get there as people. I think also too is like, belonging really does take hard work. It takes nurturing and fostering and creating and developing, but it can't be one-sided, my guy. Shout out to you. It can't be one-sided, my guy. It has to be co-created. And there are people out there who wake up, go to work, and say that today is a new day, and I'm going to do my very best to make sure that the people that I work with feel seen. But also at the end of the day, we have to do our part too. Right? We have to recognize and appreciate what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Pick up what they're putting down. Let it go.
Yep.
Reconcile. And there may be a time what we talked about earlier, right? Have to have a difficult conversation. Hey, I see you. I also see you doing something that's trying to, create this relationship that I don't think that's there. But I think that you're trying to do something. I think that you are trying to be authentic, but I cannot see it because of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that?
Mhm.
Can we, hey, this is a space where we can talk about it, right? Because I really do appreciate you doing that for me. Because I know that you are coming at an angle that is different. But I can't let something go unless we talk about it. And until we talk about it, I think we can go somewhere we've never been before.
I mean, if you think about all that we're saying in this episode, it's adding so much more rich flavor, hopefully, to the conversation around workplace belonging. That it's not just about stickers. It's not just about office with a corner. It's not just corner office with a window. It's not just about reserved parking. Although sometimes those things are important to people. People are not monolithic. What works for one won't work for all. That's actually what makes the work kind of exciting. My president at Virginia Union University, the one, the only, Dr. Hakeem J. Lucas, hey doc, would say it this way: the people are the work. So part of our work as leaders is to get to know the people, to make sure that the people have what they need, that the people are doing the work, the people are being properly evaluated, they're getting the constructive feedback, they're being, coached on incremental progress. And there's just a lot of work that goes into the people side of the work. And so then what we have to do is appreciate the role that each of us play in it. Look, we're way beyond time. Thank y'all. Our numbers are climbing. We are grateful, but we will continue this conversation. We may even meet you all in a couple of days, midweek. But before we go, let my friend, my co-host.
Wait, Fran. I think that, you're saying, there are a lot of responsibilities on the leader.
Yes.
But as employees, we also have to do the work as well. I think there are people out there who have tension between their colleagues, and it's causing them to not meet the goal. There are some of you who are directors, who are associate directors, who are assistant directors, who are just entry-level employees, but you also play a role. Mm-hmm. And if you are not creating that experience or that that morale that people want to be around, that synergy, there it is. Yeah. That people don't want to be around. At the end of the day, it's not ever going to work. Mm-hmm. And we oftentimes we heard this on a webinar last week, I think, is that so many people look up to the leader to resolve it. Right. Sometimes we have to level up
come on,
to get the job done.
Right.
Stop looking at the leader to resolve our issues. There are many times, sometimes, oftentimes, whatever you want to call it, that we can deliver. We have to have those conversations with people. Mm-hmm. We have to call a spade a spade. Like, hey, here's how I'm feeling. But we don't have to be nasty about it.
No.
We don't have to use foul language or profanity. We don't have to raise our voice, which we also oftentimes tell people to raise their voice, right? Call attention to what you need. But at the end of the day, as employees, there are often times where we're hurt. The world is hurt. The world is hurt. Yeah. The world is hurt. And so many times we're silent because we're afraid. Too often, we don't want to use our words because of our past experiences. And we talked about financial stability and job security because we need the job. We have to pay our bills each month. Uncle Sam is going to come no matter what you're going through.
No matter what. Them bills are coming.
But for you, it is not sustainable if you can't use your words to help people understand how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But also at the end of the day, people who are receiving those words, please be understanding. Please open your heart. It's a thing called empathy.
Right.
Empathy where you put yourself in the other people's shoes. Stop being, that's what she said. Let's stop being defensive. Where we raise our this guard up and we don't listen to what people are saying, and then we have a rebuttal every time they bring something to us. There are times where we have to actively listen in order to resolve the problem. And until that happens, we're always going to come up short. And when we come up short, everyone fails.
Yeah.
And when we fail, we're left with nothing. And then we're pointing the finger. But as solution-oriented leaders, we call attention to, hey, I know where I went wrong. Let me tell you where I went wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm going to come back to the leaders. At the end of the day, it falls on you.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders, you have to have autonomy, accountability to realize and understand and embrace your position in the organization. But I'm not letting the employees off the hook. You too have a responsibility to do the work to ensure that morale is high, to ensure that people are accepted and appreciated and valued, to ensure that, listen, we have a conflict, but I'm not going to allow this to affect my work because I have to work with you. I have to, whether it's direct or indirect. So at the end of the day, I have something to say. And by that point, once you say your piece, now they have to respond. And they can respond positively or negatively.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something we have to also address. Yeah, we're not going. Where are we? An hour and 18. We're going to keep going because I know we talked about this. Based on who we are, some of us cannot raise our voice.
Yeah.
Some of us, here we go, cannot pat our head. Some of us cannot use language that others will use.
Not if we want to keep our job.
Not if you want to keep your job, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be blamed.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna turn that back on. Like, see, you have always been the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair.
Right.
I agree, but we have to have some decorum.
Right. Even in the workplace. I mean, you don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. It's that sometimes there are days, there are times where people will push your buttons. People know you have buttons. They know you've got triggers. And you know why they know you got triggers? I'm gonna be honest. If we got to go there, I'll say it. They know you got triggers because we told them. It's like we told them, because this is the thing. People are people. humans are humans, and so sometimes but I don't know, people don't have water coolers, but when we're in the hallway, when we're in the group chat, when we're in the Zoom room, when we're at the company picnic, we tell them, "Oh, I can't stand when people call me Betty. My name is not Betty. My name is Betsy," whatever it might be. And before you know it, they will say that, you know what? I know what your trigger is now. You don't like to be called Betty. So guess what they're going to do? As we would say, on your darkest day, when the rain is pouring, you just got drenched walking into work, and they want to get on your nerve, they're going to call you Betty. And you're going to be feeling some kind of way. Why? Because you gave them the tools, the power,
boy,
that they needed.
And that's the thing. That's another thing too, is like you bring up a really good point, is that some of us come into work not willing to share our pain, our story, our background, because people will use it against us.
Because people have used it against us.
And like, I don't know why I would. Right. I'm just trying to have a good day. I'm trying to have a good year. Listen, my last job, I did this. I allow myself to be authentic, open, and honest, full transparency, because
No. You just kicked us into overtime. So basically, we've been watching sports all day. So I'm going to use sports language. You just kicked us into overtime. You can't give them that kind of language of I'm going to be open. What do you mean by open? It means that in your last job, what did you do? You went to lunch with them.
So I don't know
let
why
them ride in your car.
Come on.
You gave them your personal cell phone
Listen,
number.
who are we talking to?
Right?
Who are we talking to? Because yes.
I told you my middle name. I told you what my mama and them called me. And what happened? You got too comfortable. And at my last job, they used it against me. I told you what I was doing for the holiday. And what you do? Next meeting after the holiday, it was part of the staff meeting. Well, let's talk to Terrell, because Terrell's making a good enough living. He's going on cruises. I'm just making up examples, people, but y'all know, put it in the chat. You know it happens. You know it's real. And the reason why it's problematic, employer, the reason why it's problematic, CEO, the reason why it's problematic, team leader, the reason why it's problematic, manager, is what you're actually doing is silencing your employee to where they will never trust a workplace again like that. And I'm gonna tell you, because I know y'all can't see what I can see. Fran want to jump in this. Those people are disproportionately Black and brown and disabled and LGBTQIA2S plus, and those who live at the intersections of all of these.
Man, wow. Moment of silence. Because I know people on this podcast need to sit with that. Yeah, we have to. We have to sit with. I actually transitioned to the next role because I have experienced so much pain, isolation, and exclusion where I can no longer function in that role or in that space. So therefore, I come to my new role fully excited and motivated to do good work. But I'm also reminded that I'm not going to make the same mistake. But then when you're cognizant about what you should not do, that new role or the context and situation and circumstances want that from you. You ask yourself, it's that little bird that tell you, like, should I?
Yep.
Should I?
Yep.
Because I've been bit out. We have not decided what this podcast is, but we're going to decide today. I've been bit in the ass before.
Right.
And it's going to only lead to me being in a space where people are going to use it against me.
Yep.
And when they use it against me, I know where I can go. That's a trigger for me. And those triggers are causing me to show up in a way that I don't want to show up.
Yeah.
And when I show up in that way, I'm going to dim my light.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be silent. I'm going to withdraw. And I want so bad to enjoy life. Because as we said earlier, although we can problematize it, we at least, the average person spends at least 90,000 hours at work. And when I spend that much time at work,
much time around people
that I don't like,
mm-hmm.
that I don't enjoy, that don't bring me value, that don't pat me on the back, I'm going to walk. Listen, I say this all the time. At my previous job, and you can look it up because I'm going to be that person today. By 10:30, I was going to walk in crap. I want to go there because I think this is.
I thought you saying 10:30 was 9:30, but go ahead.
It was 9:30, but I'm trying to be good for the people. By 9:30, there was crap that was waiting for me, whether it was an email, a phone call, a virtual conversation, or in-person conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if it was horse crap, dog crap, cat crap. Okay, so let's crap. But I began to guard myself because I knew that whatever I told them will be used against me. There are some of you all out here who are guarded, who shield and protect themselves from the words that they use, who don't allow themselves to be in certain leadership positions because they know that they're going to be prejudged or bullied or hurt in some form or fashion. We are here to tell you that it is very important for employers, CEOs, leaders to understand during the interview. This is a question we need to ask people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always ask, why'd you leave your job? And people are, I'm gonna be honest, I'm the same. I do it too. It's like, why would I share that? But we have to create this space,
right,
and hold this space that allows people to share exactly why did you leave your last job?
To be honest.
And I'm not here to judge you.
Right.
I'm not here to humiliate you or ostracize you or push you to the side. What I need to know is you are a good worker. Yeah. That is why I hired you.
Yeah, come on.
And I'm trying to tell someone.
Drop it in the chat. Ask us your question. Why'd you leave your last job? What are you struggling with? Listen, we've met people, talked to people. We've had 3-4 calls this week with some people who are leaving jobs, whose jobs are being terminated, whose jobs are being extinguished because of, look, you go in there, may as well go there because of the anti-DEI attacks. How do you then talk to someone about getting a new job? What's the words you use in the interview? Listen, I'm gonna say it, and I don't know if y'all can look it up the way you can look up his, but I had a job interview, I'm just gonna say maybe 2 years ago. And I remember one of the decision makers in the job, but one of the decision makers in the job said, well, I have a question for you. Why did you leave this, job or whatever? And I was like, oh, I left because of this reason. And they said to me, well, we'll see about that. I'm gonna look into that myself. It was so hostile. It was so violent. It was so nasty. It was so, by the time I got to that airport, I had already resigned from that search. Why? First of all, I'm a human. I'm a person. You don't talk to people that way. There's, you don't need to. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer the question. I have no reason to conceal or hide anything from you. But it proved to me right then the kind of environment
I would be walking into, I would be coming to. And so I will not want to, be in a place where every single time I say something, you feel like you have to go do your own research. What are you talking about? No. So sometimes, and friends talk about this, listen, here's something one of my friends used to tell me. At the interview, remember, you are interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you. You're trying to figure out, is this a place where I can feel like I belong and I matter? If not, listen, keep it going, keep it moving. You got other options. If it is, then great. Then do your best there. This is what we're trying to do.
That's a good point, because at the end of the day, right, we had someone who shared with us when we had dinner with them. It was a client, that we have this we know that we are also interviewing them as candidates, but there are some employers out there who are looking for certain things, and they will terminate the interview if they know you're not a good fit. They will literally stop there are some of them who will stop the interview if they know you're not a good fit. I think it's important.
Let me ask you a question, friend. Have you ever had an interview start that you didn't want to finish? Have you ever had an interview, for real, where you, listen, y'all, come on, somebody, put it in the chat, talk to us, do something. You can tweet at us at Do Good Work on anything social media. Have you ever had it?
Yeah, I have. I have. I think that there was someone who asked me, I can't remember the exact question, so it's not verbatim, but they asked me, like, you went on vacation, you have a report due when you get back, you have phone calls that you need to return.
Tell the story, friend.
You have emails that you have to respond to. And how are you going to manage your time? Well, for me, friends, I'm a person where I enjoy higher education. I enjoy making sure that students they receive their, the information that they need to be successful, whether that's the school that I'm recruiting for or not. And I told the person, like, hey, the report is due to the supervisor. I've been in supervisory roles. I understand the importance of getting that done by the due date, because it's not who I answer to, it's who you answer to. And I know that if the report is not done, now you have to answer to, like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So, cut across the field a little bit, I've had that experience. And I told the individual, like, hey, I really do enjoy this work. So much so where I will work during vacation. But the thing is, to me, is like, work for you is not work for me.
Right.
Work for you is like you just said.
Which is what I was saying a little bit earlier today.
No,
yes,
bro,
no.
like, come on, like,
Right.
no. Hear me. Listen, I'm gonna tell a story, because this right here, boy, ooh, it grinds my gears.
Yeah.
You said no. I said that it doesn't work for me. It's not work. I didn't say that, but basically what I said is that work for me was not work for you, because I picked up what you're putting down.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy my work. I enjoy recruiting. I enjoy talking to families. I live for, figuring out ways to help students understand where's the best place for them to, decide the best place for them to go to college. And in order for them to decide in a way that meets their needs and expectations, I have to deliver.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or not. And it's not for every recruiter. I understand that. There are some recruiters on this podcast who are texting me now saying that, child, I'm not doing that. So shout out to you. Child, I know you understand you're not doing that. But they came back to me saying, okay, what if I restricted your access and make sure you don't have
They said that in the interview?
access to your account. Yeah. And in that moment, I knew that wasn't the place for me to work.
Mhm.
Although I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of wanted it.
Mhm.
No, I'm lying. I didn't want that job, but at the end of the day,
But you applied for it.
I
You
applied,
interviewed for
like-
it. People don't apply and interview for jobs they don't want at all.
in some sense, yeah. But to hear that remark saying like, I'm going to restrict your access, you don't agree with my work style. You framed it in a way that you yeah, y'all about to piss me off tonight. You framed it in a way that you are a leader who respects and prioritizes belonging.
Yeah.
Or not belonging, but well-being.
Oh, you're saying initially. That's how they were presenting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that move sounds very powerful. That sounds like a power move. That sounds like an abuse of power. That sounds like I'm going to, okay, so rather than honor the way that you just said, like your work style is different from mine, I'm going to shut off your access and make it so that it's impossible for you to work like that. Which, by the way, to any employers who respond to people this way, you do realize all you're doing is stressing out the person, because if the person's on vacation, if it is their natural sort of, like, let me see. Okay, I'll shout him out. Listen, I'll shout him out. I know he'll appreciate this. Hey, Derek. How you doing, Derek? Listen, boy.
Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek. I know Derek is listening.
I
What's
know
up,
for
Derek?
a fact Derek don't have more than 10 emails in his inbox right now. I'm just going to bet every single dollar that is in my wallet. He don't have more than 10 in that inbox. If you looked at my inbox right now, but Jesus, I don't know how many emails I have in my inbox, because that's just my work style. Like, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the email. I'm going to keep up with the things that have to be kept up with in priorities. There's a whole lot of emails I get that do not need my attention or deserve my attention, quite frankly. And there's a lot of emails I have to delegate, but I mean, email I have a very different relationship with email than some people. Okay, so if you said to me, hey, for me though, and I'm sure it's the same for Derek, when going on vacation, when being on the airplane, when traveling, you still have to check your email, even if you're not focused on it. It's not the priority of your day, but it's a part of your day. Having the ability to sort of keep that inbox sort of managed. Otherwise, you already know what it's going to be like. You're going to get off the cruise. You're going to get away back from the island. You're going to come back from the holiday, and now you're going to be stressed because your email is overloaded. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. And I think that's really, really important.
No, it's very important. I think that, what you share is, part of the conversation in the interview was, how can you manage stress? For me to manage stress, I understand the importance of getting the report done.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm going to do it during vacation. Now, listen, I'm going to sit on that beach and do it, but I'm not going to do it for 7, 8. First of all, I'm not doing it for more than 2 hours. I'm going to chunk the work. I have a week on vacation, and because in that week, I'm going to chunk it to get it done. Okay, for the phone calls, for me, I'm going to answer them. But I'm also going to be very aware of who's calling me. There are some parents out there who will call and say, I have a question, but they're going to be on the phone for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work. There are some parents out there who will ask a question, and they'll ask a question, and I'll answer it, and they'll move on. There are some emails who, emails are emails. Me personally, I'm going to respond to them. I'm going to get back to you in a timely manner. And so emails knocked out of the way. Phone calls, I will answer some, not all. The report I would do while on vacation, but I'm not going to do it in the sense that you're thinking about me doing it. Right. I'm going to chunk the work to make sure I deliver on time. Yes. And then for you to say that I'm going to deny your access to do that work, what are you telling me? You're telling me that, at the end of the day, I'm not allowed. Yeah, y'all got me talking seriously. I don't know yet. I'm still sitting with it. I am still sitting with it.
Yeah.
And there are some of
That's
you out
fair.
there who are sitting with what happened to you in the past. I am sitting with this. Because it kind of told me that my work style is not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not appreciated. It's not, they said words like, I'm not giving you a cookie for working on vacation. First of all, I don't remember when I said I want a cookie.
Oh my.
First of all, I don't even like cookies. I don't even like sweets. Sweets make my stomach hurt. So
Screaming.
if you gave me, I'm not giving you water, that may be a different story. But a cookie,
Flavored water for me, please.
that's interesting to me. We always, yes, somebody's gonna treat me right.
Okay.
The thing is,
King George.
who said that I wanted a cookie? Who said I was looking for a cookie? What I was trying to communicate to you was I'm so committed that while I'm on vacation, I'm going to do this work.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing this work because it's required of me. It's what we said earlier. I'm doing this work because I'm committed to the mission. I'm committed to the goals. And there are some of us out there who are so committed, who will go above and beyond the call of duty, who will make sure that students and families and clients are happy. Because at the end of the day, we want those people to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But then when people come to us and say, like, I understand the assignment. I'm going to do the work. I'm proud to do the work. I'm committed to do the work. I don't mind doing the work. And I'm met with, yeah, that ain't gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the mission? Some of us are committed to students, but we're not committed to all students.
Everybody who's, I'm paraphrasing y'all because it's not hitting the way I want. And there are two things fighting for space in my head right now. One is everybody who don't love everybody. And everybody who cares don't care about everybody. And here's the other thing you got to know is it's hard to lead them if you don't love them. And love is not like that's not like that. It's hard to lead people when you don't care about them. Oh, I love telling this story. And so, okay, Derek, okay. Okay. It's about a story, but listen, I used to work with a librarian. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how I'm gonna put it. I used to work with a librarian, and everybody talked about this librarian and said, oh, she was so mean. She was so unhappy. She was so cantankerous. She was so not friendly. She was so anti this person, anti that person. And when I met her, guess what? She was not the warmest librarian I have ever met at first. But I remember when I met her, I thought, man, she's not terribly happy. She's not overwhelmingly warm. And she kind of left me feeling a little offended. But I noticed at her workstation in her office, there was a picture of these three little kids. And so I asked her, I said, hey, tell me about these three little kids. She said, those are my grandbabies. She told me their names. I'm just going to name them Mary, Mark, and I don't know, Maybelle. And so there are three little babies. And so the next time I was in the library and I saw the librarian, I said, hey, how are Mary, Mark, and Maybelle? And her eyes lit up and she stopped dead in her tracks. And she took great pride talking about how the little babies were going to school and the artwork they made that's on her refrigerator. And then she said, Dr. Strayhorn, if there's ever anything you need, you reach out to me. I'll make sure that you get what you need. So it did come a day where I needed something from Interlibrary Loan, and I reached out to her.
And I will never forget it. Went to a meeting, came back from a meeting. My assistant, shout out to Tanita. I know you're out there probably listening. Hello, Tanita. And Tanita had some stuff in the library or in my office for me. And guess what it was, y'all? It was my interlibrary loan request, packaged, labeled with my name, hand delivered to my office. You know who did it? Little Miss Cantankerous, unhappy,
I'm screaming.
mean, nasty librarian that everybody talked about. Because guess what? Workplace belonging is transformative. That when you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel cared about, you feel like more than one in the number, you go out of your way. And all of a sudden you start to care. Why? Because you know they care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And everybody who cares don't care for everybody. It's easy to care for the boss. It's easier to care for the, I don't know, the manager, to care for the donor who gives the most money. But can you care for the maintenance worker? Can you care for the groundskeeper? Can you care for the administrative assistant or the executive assistant? Can you care for the student who's making it difficult for you to teach? Can you care for the one who challenges you in the staff meetings? Can you care for the one who stays on you about something not being exactly perfectly right? Workplace belonging can't be Skittles and rainbows in the day. It can't be about flowers and, what you say, friend, Post-it notes and Hallmark cards. It's got to also be about authentic conversations. Is that what that says? Authentic, talk authentically. It's about authentic conversations. It's about keeping it real. It's about wrestling and pushing through the pain and the difficulty to get to the place where it's easier and smoother. So, to those of you who are listening in, to those of you who have been tuning in, listen, we got more likes, I think, on this one than any other episode. We appreciate ya.
Yeah.
But for listening in, dropping in, stopping in, for the 200 or so who are staying in the listening audience across these platforms, we say thank you. We thank you to my co-host for pushing us into overtime on this topic. We probably not even done tonight, y'all. Y'all might be done. But listen, work matters. We spend a lot of time at work. And because you spend a lot of time there, I used to say this to my students in my centers, said it to myself during my comp exam at Virginia Tech: create the conditions that you need to thrive and succeed. You don't have to look up at the manager or the supervisor or the leader. Starting tomorrow, go into your office and create the conditions that you need to thrive and succeed. For somebody, that means you're going to have to talk to the secretary about getting you a new chair. Somebody, you need to bring your ring light to work because you know that office is too dark for you. So somebody, I don't know, move the plant to the right side or the left side. Lift the chair up, make it different, make it clap. Do something that makes the workspace feel like what you need to want to be there, to want to do your work, to want to perform, to want to succeed. Because workplace belonging is transformative.
I think that, it's a dark world. And no one shows up to work to be frustrated.
No one.
And I think that we have to do a better job collectively to ensure that it's a new day, it's a new season. And with that in mind, we ultimately show up to work trying to figure out a way to bring light to the world. And there are some days it's going to be harder than others. But even in your darkest day, you're someone's brightest light. We say that time and time again. Mm-hmm, it's so true. Mm-hmm. There are some people in the world that depend on you, that need you, that want you, that when they see you, they're like, you know what? today's going to be a good day. Although they may not say it to you, although they may not express that they enjoy your presence, although some may not share that you are their light, please understand you are called to a purpose. And some of you, some of you are missing your calling. Because you are so in tune and driven by what's wrong instead of, looking at the positive in your world. The world needs you. The work needs you. The workplace needs you. And in order for that to happen, you have to wake up the very next day, reframe your mind. Because I know some of you waking up saying like, child, I don't know why I would. But tell yourself, think about the positive relationships you have and appreciate those relationships. And then walk into that workplace and bring your light. Because people have skills, people have knowledge, people have certain traits that others don't have. And I tell a lot of my friends that the world is competitive and your application is competitive. But there are some things you can train and others you can't. I can train you to be sufficient in the software. I can train you to communicate with our clients. I can train you while you're working. But what I cannot train you on is your heart. Friends, you have something that others don't have. And that is your light that you bring to the workplace. Continue to shine. Do not allow people to dim your light. Do not allow people to push your buttons, frustrate you. Because at the end of the day, we need you.
Thank you for tuning in to Do Good Work Podcast. We hope you found today's conversation informative, uplifting, and insightful. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your networks. Follow us on social media at Do Good Work on X, formerly Twitter, for real-time updates, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more. Until next time, friends, don't be afraid to do something, but do something good. Do good work.